Coming up on today's Locked On Dodgers, the Dodgers looked worse than these broken headphones I have on my head. They got swept by the Giants, but more importantly, the Dodgers lost their ace for at least 2 months. We're going to talk about Walker Buehler. We're going to talk about getting swept and try to find some silver linings after a bad weekend. So that's what's on tap. So make sure to keep it Locked On Dodgers.
You are Locked On Dodgers, your daily Los Angeles Dodgers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yo, Dodger fans. Welcome to Locked On Dodgers. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 local sports daily podcast network. Locked On, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, more odds, and more lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. This is Locked On Dodgers, and you can find us wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube simply by searching for Locked On Dodgers. And make it easier on yourself and subscribe in all those places because we're not going to miss a day, so now you shouldn't miss a day. So subscribe. If this is your first time listening or watching, I'm Samperio. I'm usually here with the co-host. His name is Snider, but he covered for me a couple days last week. He's not feeling 100% today, so I'm going to take on today's episode. And like I mentioned at the start of the show, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see my headphones look a little weird. My headphones broke over the weekend, and I haven't been able to replace them yet. So if just try to ignore the way they look, and it was a perfect comparison to how the Dodgers looked this weekend, which was broken. Are they broken in general? No, but they had a big loss that happened this weekend. Walker Buehler pitched and did not go into the fifth inning, came out after 4 innings after they called it. So he had elbow discomfort that he was going to get an MRI. The MRI did not reveal UCL tear, which is pretty great. He does not need surgery, but they are calling it a flexor strain. He is out 6 to 8 weeks. And now we sit in a timeline where if everything goes right, we won't see Walker Buehler pitching for the Dodgers again, probably until September. So what does it mean for the Dodgers now? What does it mean for the Dodgers the rest of the season? What does it mean for the Dodgers into October? Obviously, losing your ace doesn't look good for the immediate future and for the future of the season. But the good thing is the Dodgers can weather this storm. They can be fine in the regular season. They will have to figure things out or hope for everything to go right in order for them to not be affected in the postseason. But first, let's talk about the now. Walker Buehler out. The Dodgers just got Clayton Kershaw back, who also pitched this weekend. We'll talk about that. So you got Kershaw, Julio, Tyler Anderson, Tony Gonsolin, Andrew Heaney almost coming back, and then you got Ryan Pepiot, Michael Grove, and Mitch White all able to step in for spot starts. So the Dodgers can, I wouldn't even call it treading water. That's still not a top tier rotation, but that's still a good enough rotation with this offense to be one of the best teams in baseball, especially if Kershaw pitches how he was before the injury, especially if Heaney comes back and pitches even 80% of what he was before his injury. If Tony Gonsolin keeps it up, Tyler Anderson keeps it up, and Julio continues to do what he's been doing. Now, that's counting on a lot of things, like I just said, to keep up. That's counting on Heaney and Kershaw and Gonsolin and Anderson to all be as good as they've been so far this season. There's not a lot of reason to believe they won't be, but it's also a long season. So you're counting on that. But I still think overall, there's a lot of teams in worse spots in terms of rotation. Where it goes for the rest of the season, I think it's similar as of now. They can still get by the rest of the regular season. They can still win the NL West with this current rotation and current crop of arms they have. Is that how it's going to be? I don't think so. The Dodgers have shown in the past to go out there and acquire top talent when top talent is needed. And as we even saw last year, the Dodgers had a top talent in Trevor Bauer. He went on administrative leave, and the Dodgers ended up bringing in Max Scherzer. And Max Scherzer, pitched very well for the Dodgers up until the postseason, where a little bit of mixed results and then a sore arm. But, that's not what we're here to talk about. Do I think this makes the Dodgers more likely to trade for a starting pitcher at the deadline? Yeah, obviously, because you need everything to go right and Buehler's arm to respond well in order for you to have Walker Buehler in your rotation in October. Now, is there somebody out there that's good enough, that's good or better than Walker Buehler that can be had? That remains to be seen. There's guys with good stuff. Frankie Montas, Luis Castillo, the two names that'll be linked to the Dodgers now the rest of the way until they get traded somewhere else or to the Dodgers. Those guys have really good stuff. They haven't been able to put it together all the way yet. Can the Dodgers help with that? Possibly. Are they number one aces? No. Um, but I do think the Dodgers were already going to be on the starting pitcher market, and now they're going to be on it a little bit stronger. Maybe even getting into, I don't know if they'll get into a bidding war, but the Dodgers do have a lot of arms and depth to deal from if need be. So now we're going to have to look, and there's 2 off days this week, so I'm sure we'll talk about it more. Who else is out there that the Dodgers can go get that would theoretically be available? Montas, Castillo, Tyler Mahle would be the 3 right now that were the same ones from this offseason. But now we're going to have to look a little bit deeper. Now, what does this mean for the Dodgers for October? Not great. A rotation, a top 3 of Buehler, Julio, Kershaw, and then, Heaney, Gonsolin, Anderson, whoever's pitching the best at the time behind them. That's a strong rotation. Is it as good as some other teams? No, but you pair with the Dodgers offense, and that's a World Series contender still. Now you bump that off. You got Julio, Kershaw, Gonsolin, maybe. Heaney, Anderson also there, and that's not as formidable. And now you're counting on your offense a little bit more, putting a little bit more pressure, and things start to be affected. What helps is for October, the Dodgers have a good bullpen, and they can shorten games. They can say, hey, we only need you, Tyler Anderson or Tony Gonsolin or whoever. We only need you to go through the lineup twice, and we can handle the rest. Is that ideal? No. Can it be done efficiently? Possibly. But it just opens up your margin for error a little bit more. And Walker Buehler's a guy that you've been able to slot in for the last 3-4 years. 4 years, 18, 19, 20, 21. You've been able to slot him in at the top, whether game 1, game 2, whatever it was, and not have to worry about it. And now that's in jeopardy. And when it comes down to it, assuming it's just a strain, assuming the rest does him well, assuming he takes the full 8 weeks off, because that's 6 to 8 weeks of not touching a baseball, not throwing a baseball. So let's just say it takes the full 8 weeks. That puts you July 13th, August 13th as of now. August 11th, we'll put it, whatever the date he got hurt. All right, so now you have a month to start throwing and try to ramp up to be able to pitch in major leagues. So let's just say another 6 weeks of ramping up and 2 rehab starts. All right, now you're looking at middle of September to come back. You're looking at hopefully 2 to 3 starts in late September, and then you're heading right into October. Is it possible? Yes. Do I expect it to happen? I don't know. I don't know. But what I think changes today with Walker, this injury, is just now starting pitching becomes a little bit more of a necessity rather than a luxury we're looking for. Andrew Friedman isn't going to be desperate, but he's a little bit more desperate than he was 3 days ago, 4 days ago, whatever it was. So are the Dodgers fine? Yes, for now. Can the Dodgers still win the NOS? Yes, for now. Can the Dodgers win the World Series? Technically, yes. But it's a lot harder if they don't have Walker Buehler or somebody with the same caliber of stuff that he has. So now it's on the front office to determine what they're willing to pay in order to get another arm in here. Or if they think that the arms that they have are good enough, they think Tony Gonsolin is going to continue to pitch Under 2 ERA. They think Andrew Heaney's going to come back and never allow a run the whole season, and they think Kershaw's going to hold up healthy. That's the other part too. Everyone has to stay healthy now in order for this to work out. So, yeah, the desperation meter went up a little bit. I don't think it's at panic mode. I do think it's at, okay, let's see what we need to do mode. Let's talk about Clayton Kershaw. Let's talk about how he looked. But first, let's talk about Athletic Greens, because Athletic Greens is something that I've been using every day now for a while and starting to make me feel better. And what Athletic Greens does for me is might be different for what it does for you, but what it can do for you can get you some better gut health, more energy, optimize the immune system, reduce the number of pills/vitamins you need to take. It's a supplement that tastes great, and you're getting 75 high quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source, superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. Just throw a scoop of it in your water, throw a scoop of it in your coffee, I guess, if you want. Throw a scoop of it in your shake or whatever you take in the morning, and let it do the work. You don't have to take a bunch of multivitamins. You don't have to, do all that kind of stuff. It comes one easy way for you. Less than $3 a day, and you're investing in your health, and cheaper than your cold brew habit, cheaper than getting a bunch of different supplements. It's all in one right there for you. And Athletic Greens is making it even easier for you to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition, because they're giving you a free 1-year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you got to do is go to athleticgreens.com/MLB network. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/MLB network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Let's talk about NBA mock draft. The ultimate NBA mock draft for the Locked On Network starts June 16th with over 50 insiders. Nothing equals the ultimate NBA mock draft presented by the Locked On NBA and Locked On Network. The Locked On NBA Big Board draft experts and the Odyssey insiders, they make the first pick June 16th. Just search Ultimate NBA Mock Draft and follow now so you don't miss a pick. All right, let's talk about a pitcher who is back from injury, and that's Clayton Kershaw. And he pitched on Saturday, and he did all right. He, didn't set the world on fire, but he looked healthy. Well, he was healthy. He woke up the next day, and his arm was still on, so that was good. And he looked good enough, and he did end up taking the loss. But that's more on the Dodgers offense than the way Kershaw pitched. He did give up a couple runs. He did only go 4 innings. But he did have 4 strikeouts, did have 2 walks, and he looked good. His slider. What didn't look good was a slider. His slider was susceptible to hanging, which is how he gave up 1 home run and a couple of those hits. But that's just slider's a field pitch. It's going to happen. I'm sure it'll be fine by this next start out. Curveball looked good. Fastball looked normal. Kershaw looked like Kershaw, just obviously couldn't go as deep, and slider stayed flat a little bit. Other than that, I like what I saw, and it comes at a good time for the Dodgers now, obviously with Buehler being out, and everything else. But yeah, Kershaw looked good. But let's talk about the game that he pitched. The Dodgers had 13 hits in that game, and they scored just 2 runs, and it was not fun to watch. And it was probably one of the more annoying games of the season. The Dodgers lost 3-2. The Giants threw a bullpen game. And like I mentioned, the Dodgers had left 33 men on base. 33 men on base. Not ideal. And it goes into a little bit deeper thing of the Dodgers offense and how they've been performing lately. And it goes to who the catalyst of the team is? It's Mookie Betts. When Mookie goes, the Dodgers go, and Mookie's in a bit of a slump. The last 15 days, 14 games, Mookie Betts has 13 hits in 61 at-bats. He's hitting .213 with an OPS of 594, 11 strikeouts in those 14 games, and just 3 walks. He's not getting on base. The Dodgers aren't scoring as often. And you look at it just the last 2 weeks, the players that are getting the most at-bats for the Dodgers, top 5, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Trey Turner, Will Smith, Justin Turner. Mookie Betts' OPS is 594. Freddie Freeman's OPS is 603. Justin Turner's OPS is 500, and he's hitting 174. Trey Turner is playing well enough. Will Smith is, I think, on an 8-game hit streak right now, so he's playing well. But when Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman aren't going, the Dodgers offense ain't going. What a surprise. And that's how it's been. The other part, too, is hitting with runners in scoring position. The Dodgers aren't hitting in general. Mookie Betts and everybody else aren't hitting in general. But where runners in scoring position, they are not hitting well at all. And I forget what the exact number was. I think it was like 170 or 190 something going into Sunday's game. In the last 14 games, I want to say is what they said on the broadcast. And that's not going to cut it. Overall in the season, the Dodgers are hitting 270 something. But in the last 2 weeks, when they've struggled a little bit, they're not hitting 270 something. They're hitting under 200. And for an offense with this much talent, it's just frustrating. It's obviously more frustrating when it happens against a rival team and a team that's chasing you in the division. And especially with the Padres playing well recently, the Padres could have taken sole possession of first place with the win on Sunday, but they ended up losing as well. So it goes to show that, when the Dodgers are going good, it's Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman. And when the Dodgers aren't going good, it's Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman for the most part. Everyone else, has their times and roles. And, Trey Turner is up with those three guys, if those three are going. But you need at least two of them going in order for this offense to be somewhat decent. And even, Trey Turner has been doing pretty well lately. I think he's on a 5 or 6 game hit streak now. But, with Freddie and Mookie struggling, not ideal. And we've talked about before how, those guys coming up in big spots, you expect them to do something, expect them to, help out, put the ball in play or whatever the case is. And it's just situational hitting. They're not, it's not there right now. Mookie Betts looks a little bit lost, guessing a lot, taking pitches that he should probably be swinging at pitches he should be taking. And, a couple of times over the weekend, he came up in big spots and just looked completely overmatched. And, we've seen Mookie look like this just not that long ago, the beginning of the season. And, I'm not concerned about it, but it's just frustrating in the moment, obviously, of, what it looks like. In terms of runs scored, the Dodgers in the last 2 weeks are in the last 5, I think they're 26th, 24th in runs scored in all of baseball. So they're not putting up runs. It's a struggle all around, but it goes with the top of the order. And it goes a little bit about something Dave Roberts talked about. He's unhappy with what's been going on lately. He said the Dodgers would have a lot of conversations. He thought that they figured out that a team meeting isn't necessary yet. But he said the team has lacked, quote, doing what it takes to win, end quote, this month. And he says it's getting more clear that we're not doing enough to win baseball games. We're too talented. It's not about trying. We all know it's not a try league. We all need to come together to start winning baseball games. That's the only goal. And, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where we've seen this team handle adversity in different ways. We've seen this team be good. We've seen this team struggle. But when it comes down to what they need to do, it's slow the game down, have some better at-bats in situational, in big situations, different situations, and try to hit the ball. I mean, it comes down, it's not that easy, but, it really comes down to these guys got to hit the ball. So that's where we're at now. We're going to come back and try to find some silver linings, try to find what's good about coming up and how the Dodgers can improve and things of that nature. So make sure to keep it locked on Dodgers. BetOnline.net is your number one source for all your betting stats, all your sports information, all your sports podcasts. They got everything right there, easy to use for you on their website, betonline.net. They got all the latest sports developments, all the latest news and odds, including this year's basketball championships, NHL, Stanley Cup championships coming up, MLB, MMA, UFC, boxing, all that good stuff right there one website. Go check it out, betonline.net, your continued source for all your sports wagering information, including live betting, esports, and more. Head to the website today on your laptop or mobile device. Learn more about all the trends, learn more about all the action. Bet online, where the game starts. All right, so what is good about the Dodgers so far in this month of June? And you go to some individual talent, you go to some individual players that have played well so far in this month. And I think you look at a guy like Will Smith, who's starting to pick it up, a guy who, sits in the middle of that Dodgers order and is expected to do some damage. And, he's hitting 314 in the month of June, 943 OPS, a couple home runs, 6 strikeouts, 5 walks, a couple doubles. He's been a guy that's been good for the Dodgers. Trey Turner, continues to get hits when he can. He did have a little bit of a running mishap on Sunday that was frustrating with 2 outs and a ball hit. He, for some reason, wasn't dead sprint once the ball left the bat, and he would have easily scored, and he didn't easily score, and he didn't score at all, actually. And I think that's one of those things Robert's just talking about, where we're not doing enough to win, not a matter of trying. Trey Turner sprinting right there, knowing the situation wasn't a matter of trying, it was a matter of knowing, it was a matter of awareness. It was a matter of, being in the game, and that was a little mental lapse. And you get a couple mental lapses here and there, and they add up, especially against a team like the Giants, who are well coached, well fundamentaled. They have guys that know their roles. They have guys that have specific roles. And, we saw them last year. They were tough, and they're still tough this year. And they're right there. I think they're within 3-4 games now, the Dodgers, after sweeping them, maybe even 2-3 games now. So it's a matter of doing those little things. When you look at Gavin Lux, he's been on fire this month, hitting over 400 in the month of June. Still not seeing that power. He did hit 1 home run, but 1 home run, 1 double, a lot of singles. But hey, he's getting on base, and it's up to the guys at top order, to put him in. He's been on base. He has the highest on base percentage of the team in the month of June. Yet he's only scored 5 runs total. He has 14 hits and 4 walks. He's been on base at least 18 times, maybe a little bit more. He scored 5 times. That's not going to cut it, especially when he's been at the bottom of the lineup, and knowing that Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, and even Trey Turner have chances to drive him in. They're not able to do so. So frustrating on that end in terms of that. Chris Taylor's been hitting well this month. He's at an OPS over 800. But still came up a couple times over the weekend in key situations, key spots, and wasn't able to come through. So what is there to look forward to? Well, the Dodgers aren't playing the Giants, so that's something to look forward to. They got 2 off days this week. That's something to look forward to. They are playing the Angels, which should be something to look forward to, although the Dodgers have always seemed to have a little bit of trouble with the Angels, even when the Angels are good or bad. The Angels, I don't know what to make of them right now. They were good, and then they were bad for a while. They lost 14 in a row, and their manager was fired. And now I don't know what to make of it, but the Dodgers coming back home. They have 2 off days. They play the Angels, who aren't our middling team at the moment. They play the Guardians, who are a middling team. They should win those games. They should be happy to be back home. They should be able to score some runs. They are not going to have to face Shohei Ohtani, I don't believe, who is the Angels' best pitcher. So I think all that is something to look forward to. Like I said, coming back home, playing teams that aren't supposed to be as good and don't have as good pitching, and just kind of turning the page, getting past this weekend and figuring things out. And I think that's what there is to look forward to, and that's what they're going to have to look forward to for now. And I think it's a matter of, these guys are a lot of these guys are veterans. They understand. I know sometimes as fans, we think maybe they don't care enough or they don't care as much as we do. And I don't, it's not a matter of they don't care as much as we do, but for them, let's just say, a loss to the Giants does suck for them in terms of it counts double because it's a division game. But it's not a matter of, you know, losing to the Pirates and losing to the Giants have similar feelings for the players, at least in a 162 game season. Whereas fans, losing to the Giants is a lot more annoying than losing to the Pirates in terms of, not more annoying because the Pirates are a worse team and the Dodgers should be beating them, but just, it's a rivalry game. I'm sure there was a lot of Dodger fans in San Francisco this weekend, a lot of them at Oracle Park cheering on the Dodgers, and none of them got to see a win. I know how frustrating that is. When I used to live in the Bay, the Dodgers, and I'd go up there and I saw the Dodgers lose, I think, like 4 or 5 games in a row before they finally won one up there in San Francisco. And it's not fun, but it's a long season, and the Dodgers are going through a little bit of a slump right now. And I think they're going to pick it up. I think Mookie Betts is going to figure it out. I think he's going to take this off day, mentally reset. I think Freddie Freeman's going to take this off day to mentally reset, and they're going to figure it out. They're going to come back home, and they're going to be hot, and they're going to have a nice week where we can talk about more wins and no losses, hopefully. Other than that, there's not, we could have went through every single game, but who wants to relive those frustrating games? I know I don't want to. I don't want to relive all those missed situations where runners in scoring position, where runners on base, all that kind of stuff. One thing that did happen on Sunday is Taylor came out of the game after crashing into a wall. A little bit of a gash, but I think he may need stitches. I don't remember what the final word was, but he shouldn't have to miss extended time. Kershaw's back. Walker Buehler's not. Justin Brule was sent down. Michael Grove was called up. That's how those things went over the weekend. And Heaney, second rehab start, Andrew Heaney, 4 1/3 shutout innings, 2 hits, struck out 5. So now he has 10 strikeouts and 7 1/3 rehab innings. He'll need one more rehab start, and then he should be able to pitch for the Dodgers soon. That's something to look forward to, Andrew Heaney coming back. So, all in all, try to forget the weekend. We obviously cannot forget the fact that Walker Buehler is injured, but the Dodgers will be fine. And now we look towards new names to talk about in terms of trade opportunities. So that's where we're sitting at now in terms of the Dodgers. So that's going to do it for today's episode. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen of the day every day. For another listen, check out Locked On MLB with Paul Francis Sullivan, a.k.a. Sully. He brings humor, passion, and a unique perspective on every team and the biggest stories around the league. Thank you for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen of the day every day. I know I just said that, but I'm going to say it again. If you aren't listening every single day, we'd love if you could, after a win, after a loss, after a day off, whatever it is, throw on Locked On Dodgers. Hopefully we're giving you at least 1 or 2 things you can take away from, a couple nuggets here to throw around with your friends and seem like a little bit of a Dodger fan that knows what he's talking about. So check us out, social media, Twitter and Instagram at Locked On Dodgers. Jeff is on Twitter at Snider. I'm at Vince Samperio. DMs are open on all those accounts if you need to get a hold of us. You can also get a hold of us via email, lockedondodgers@gmail.com, or voicemail text 323-863-5625. We're here every weekday morning, and we hope you'll be with us. When you get in your car, or if you're at home, take your smart device, play podcast, Locked On Dodgers. And remember, you don't have to agree. You just have to listen. Have a good one.